Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we're going to take an initial idea and finalize it into a more pristine idea using 3D form. Let's get started. Okay, so as you can see here I have my initial sketch in the top side of my page. Now for you guys this will probably be on a separate page. This is sort of my idea here, where we've got somewhere where you can drill to the wall. We've got a separate part here that I can actually attach it to the sanitizer site, and then down here we've got some kind of little drip tray, and of course we've got the button we can press to get our hand sanitizer out. Now of course your specifications, your themes are going to be totally different to mine, but here's a flavour for how I would do this. Okay, so I'm going to keep it up in the corner so that we can see the reference. Now when I'm doing a final drawing I'm going to want to try and do it in a technical style. So for this one, because I've got lines going like this, lines going like that, I could either do it in isometric projection. It'll be a little bit foreshortened, but for this one I'm going to go for a 2-point perspective drawing. So I'm going to put my vanishing points up here, and I'm going to call them vanishing point 1 and vanishing point 2, or VP1 and VP2. So there we go. And the first thing I'm going to do is, just with my pencil, I'm going to strike out 4 lines to create like a diamond or a kite style shape on the ground. If you can see that, that's what my little kite is here. And from there I can draw my vertical lines, and these vertical lines are where they intersect. So if you see here where all the lines sort of cross, that's where I'm going to start throwing in my vertical lines. And then I can come up here like this and like that, and that's not bad actually, but I'll just keep those going anyway. So these are called construction lines, so they're just going all the way up through the page, and where this line intersects here and this line intersects sort of here and now there where I'm going to start creating the cage, I suppose you could call it, the cage of this space here. So it's going to all be boxed into like a cage like that. Okay, so this sort of shape here, I can then almost start to flesh that out and sort of pop that in. Now I'm working in proportions, so these are almost the same sort of distance, but with practice you'll recognise that this distance has to be bigger than this distance because it's further away, and you must practice 2-point perspective drawing to get this done correctly. You can't just go straight into a 2-point perspective drawing without having practiced first. So my advice is to start practicing a little bit each week on your 2-point perspective drawings. Try drawing quite angular boxy things to begin with, and then move on to things that are a little bit more organic once you're comfortable drawing a range of different shapes. There could be anything like iPhones. I see quite a lot of teachers getting students to draw things like iPhones and sort of bird boxes, that kind of thing, because they're brilliant shapes to actually draw in 2-point perspective, and they're good tools to get practice with. But anyway, let's continue with our drawing. So once we've sort of fleshed this out, I'm always going to draw the side view. So this bit here that you can see me drawing right up in this corner, I'm going to sort of plot that into my perspective drawing, so I can sort of do this like that, and it'll start to go up here like that. Now I can follow this perspective line you see now, and that will head towards this. Okay, so this is all fundamentals of perspective drawing. Now when I'm drawing, you'll notice that when I have lines like this, I cross through them, so I don't just stop at the end like that, and I sort of cross through. That's good, because then you know where your line's definitely going to meet. Otherwise, if you do that, sometimes you fall short. So always strike through like that. And then there'll be another one there. Now this, some people might get confident and just think, oh, do you know, I'm just going to draw like that, that's parallel. We're not drawing parallel, we're drawing in perspective, so that line has to go back towards that. This is parallel. This doesn't have a vanishing point, so I have to draw that parallel like that. this line here will follow this line, like that. Even though I've got this curve on the top, I'll probably still start it off by drawing. And you guys at home, you get the benefit of using like things like rulers here for that, so you get these dead straight lines. Whereas I'm going to be just doing mine sort of freehand to begin with. And then I'm going to sort of come across like that. Now, this part proportionally, if I draw those lines like that, you can see that there, I've drawn those lines up there now. That's going to be sort of here and here. So that just gives me a guide as to where I'm drawing this part. So, we're about there, aren't we? Now that line is there, okay. Excuse me. Now there's going to be a slight curve at the top here because I'm drawing that as if I'm looking up at it, so it's going to curve over the top. And that's going to sort of continue round like that. There we go. And then here I can start to place on those side panels. Now there's going to be a thickness to this. Now even here, try and zoom in as much as I can, but show you the pointer's perspective as well. I'm sort of coming up all the way across here like that, and that's going to be vertical. That's not looking too bad at the moment, not too shabby. This is going to be my back line, so this is going to be sort of this area at the back here. So this end wall here is going to be there. And that can drag all the way down to the bottom. Now I have this fancy bit here that's going to come out as a parallel line, so I'm going to just drop that out like that. And then I'll move it parallel. And I've actually just dropped onto another construction line I already had. That's just a happy accident. That wasn't intended to be there. That's just quite fortunate, and I can put it there as well, like that. That's going to be a little bit better. Vertical lines will just drop straight down. Let's go back to the sketch. Let's have a look. Yeah, just go straight across. In this case, it's going to go straight underneath. And then this construction line goes like that. There we go. And then I can plot on where those holes are going to go. Ready for bolting it to that wall. Okay. And then this is going to be curving now. This will be a shortish curve like that. You'll see that I rotate the page quite a lot, and this will be the same thing if you've got a solid sheet of paper in front of you. You'll be doing the same thing. You'll be shifting it to get the best angle, because you want to be, like I've said in previous videos, you want to be sketching with by pivoting your elbow, not your wrist. You're not going to get as much motion. You're going to get a much nicer sketch using your elbow. So, and that's why my drawings have longer stroke lines. Not necessarily because it's more confident, but more to the point that I'm using my elbow to strike a line instead of using my wrist. And that goes back like that and joins on. So, a little bit of thickness underneath that. There we go. And follow that line back down to the vanishing point. Then up here, I'll just see. In this corner, I will see it sort of go back like that. And then there's a space there for something to hold it together. Oh, and hold it up. Right. Now that line there is going to be whereby where it starts. That's it. There we go. Now it's starting to come together. That's right. Now I can even put in perspective. There we go. Add a bit of things to that little tray. Looks a bit like a line bend piece of acrylic. You might even, you might just see the nozzle at the bottom there. You might just see that. So there we go. We're about 11 minutes in, and we've got a 2-point perspective drawing that I'm sure most of your design teachers will be quite proud of that. Well, at least I hope they will be. So there you go. Now you might think, oh crumbs, that's it now, I've finished. Oh no, no. This is just the start point. If anything, we're about halfway. So I would at this point have a new sheet of paper, so I'm just going to create a new layer here. And to just demonstrate that going backwards, what I will do is I'll just knock that back so it's like you can barely see it. Now my new sheet of paper, I'll put a piece of tracing paper over the top possibly. Or if you've got a light box in your academies, in your schools, then you can place it on the light box, you'll be able to see through it. And we're going to trace this through with a fine line now. Now, I will use the benefits of digital drawing here to just help with this. But you'll of course have access to a ruler. There we go. Now I know I might make this look like it's quite a swift process. I can assure you it's not. It'll probably take you about an hour and a half to really get your trace down, ink it all in. If you're going to ink it in, you don't have to ink it in. I'm just using a dark pencil here. Some places will prefer you use an ink. So this is the complete opposite of a sketch. You've got a single line and you have to get it right. So my advice here is when you're inking in, or this process I suppose you would call this inking in, make sure you take your time with it. It's a presentation drawing, so it needs to look the bee's knees. There we go. So I'll just speed up a little bit now just so that I get this drawing finished, teach you the next part. Quite a nice activity though once you're inking in, because it really is just essentially you're tracing down the work. So all the hard work's been done now, you've just got to take your time with the inking in start. Inking in start, inking in part is what I should have said. Practice will make perfect there. It's probably the scariest thing to do when you're doing a drawing is actually try and draw an oval. Because you'll feel if you get it wrong, you've messed up the entire drawing. I think we're about there. Just checking. There's one line missing there. Oh, the nozzle part down here. Luckily for me, this bit's all going to be black, so I can just block that in. Shade that in there like that. And I might just add a little double line there to make it suggest that it's liquid. Right, there we go. Okay, so at this stage we've got our final drawing. Now this again, remember, is going to be on a clean sheet of paper, so it's going to look really nice and neat. We could, I suppose, if your school's got access to markers, you could start to add in the marker parts, so like that. Although let's do it like this. I don't mind adding the marker parts in with the digital side of things, but that's what I wanted. Didn't want to do anything else. Let's go for an orange. Give it a splice of colour. There we go. And then the drip tray might be like a red acrylic or something like that. See if I can get this angle done. Nope, missed. There we go. Just down there. Now, of course, we could use some kind of like neon green for this bit. And then we just want a nice yellow for the wood texture. Of course, this could all be done with markers in your school. Then of course I put mine back like that, but still. Looks a bit more like a marker now, so you end up looking like something like that, and then you could probably go over, in fact maybe if I multiply that. I'm trying to show you what it would look like with markers. So I'm going to add the depth, yes. So then, what would be darker there? That's going to be the darker part. No. Yeah. So there you go. You could add. You could add darker parts to sections for shadow. I wouldn't go mad at this point either. There's your final drawing. Of course, this allows us then to add in scales and measurements. So don't forget those arrows. Like that. And with these construction lines, you see that we've already got, we can actually use those to place our dimension lines. And that's just that. Well, that's you just like this tool, but hopefully you sort of get the picture. Now, if I just wipe that out of the way, the original sketch, and get rid of that. There we go. There's our final drawing, ladies and gents. So there it is. Let's head back to home base and finish off. Okay, so what have we learnt in today's session? Today's session we've looked at how we can take our initial sketch style idea and formalise it into 3D form. something that I would advise you guys do at home so that you can show off some of that design skill. Remember, part of your design folder needs to show a variety of different design techniques, including things like exploded diagrams, 2-point perspective drawings like you've seen today, isometric projection, orthographic views, and along with sketching as well. So do show off those skills throughout your folder. The more techniques you can show in there confidently, then you're going to have a much richer variety within your folder. So there you go. Right, as always, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss one of our videos. Of course, now it's September, so things are going to be coming in quite thick and fast. We'll release a video every Monday for you guys in year 11, and up here I'll place you a video, so if you have missed one, you can go and catch up. Until next time, stay safe. Bye now.